Discord. Bam. Okay, perfect. All right, so everyone can.
Yep, looks good.
All right, so welcome to the monthly recap, right? Over here at the HBT Discord, we're going to be breaking down a wonderful month of March, right? We're going to be breaking down how to build conviction within yourself, the importance of being able to trust yourself and your analysis, right? And then we're obviously going to run through what our edge is. We're going to run through what we look for every single day to get in and out of the market. This month, we've been presented with tons of different scenarios, right? And the market has been giving us tons of different opportunities. It's been a very bullish month. If you ask me, I'm just going to try to highlight. So the month started right over here at 393, and we have ended the month over here at 409. Super bullish. And we're just going to run through how to adapt to the market conditions, right? How to validate our edge. And one thing that I really want to do this week, right, that we don't do enough of, right, is how to is to break down some losing trades, right? So it's really important, obviously, to go through winning trades and to see what works and recreate that, right? That's what we're always talking about with team metrics, right? Logging and recreating. But the super important thing, and not enough of us do, and speaking for myself, is like to really flesh out your losing trades. And I was super happy with myself, right? And I posted this in the Discord. I just started a new channel, right? So one thing I really want to do with these weekly recaps is make it a priority to go through our losing trades. So I made a new channel in the Discord called Losing Trades, where we're going to be I'll be posting, Darren, I know you will be too. And I also encourage everybody, right, who has any losing trades to post them in there so that we can run through them on these weekly recaps, right? Because it's very important to all traders make losing trades, right? I used to think that all the very good, consistent traders didn't make dumb decisions. And the fact of the matter is, as I become more consistent and more profitable, I'm realizing I still make bad decisions. I still make losing trades. But now I'm just very good at getting out of them extremely fast and recovering, right? So it's very important to be able to identify these losing trades and to get as much as you can out of them, right? So we're going to be running through some of those for the month. But, you know, overall, really good month. How does everyone feel for the month?
Solid month. I feel like I probably made the same a number of losing trades. However, I was able to control them and not have them hurt my account.
Right.
Like the last couple months. So I made massive progress this month with my account and in my mentality. And I'm just feeling real progress and proving to myself that I'm consistent and just really feeling good about this last month.
So let me ask you something, Darren. So what do you believe? If you had to chalk it up, right, to one activity that helped you make so much progress this month, what would it be? Like, what's the main thing?
I would say the main thing is learning to take profits around 30 to 50, maybe 60%.
Right.
Has been massive for me. I don't know if it's just I'm adapting to the current market conditions, but basically as I was reviewing my trades, I realized the amount of trades where I had at least 50% profits and I wanted more and I ended up with a losing trade. It just ended up hurting me so many times that I just decided, all right, when I get to 20% to 30%, I'm going to start looking to exit my position. And if I see absolutely no valid signs to get out, maybe I'll stay in. And basically what that allowed me to do is, even if they're small winners, it proved to my mind that I am becoming consistent. Even if it doesn't matter if it's 5% winner or a 20% winner. If I can do that repeatedly day after day, it builds an insane amount of confidence in your setup. And that's really what I felt like has helped me in the last month, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
We all know these trades where we can make 100%, 200%. I really don't believe that those are the trades that are going to bring us to consistency. And I don't think they honestly help our mindset.
Yeah.
So So, and if I look back in the past, honestly, I think those are the ones that are hurting my mentality. And I'm sure we'll break it down more today, but I would say booking profits earlier has helped me a lot.
Yeah, and that all stems, right? Because I remember we talked about it last week, right? So obviously that all stems from journaling, right? So one thing that I really always talk about, right, is journaling your trades, right? Because for so long, right, I think it was around like 3 years, I would just show up to the market and just go for it, fire off. I'd have a great trade, I'd have a losing trade, and basically what that comes down to is not being able to hold yourself accountable, right? So trading is such a like unstructured environment, right? Where we have the freedom to make any decision, right? So like we come to the market, we can go long, we can go short, we control when we get out, when we don't get out, right? A lot of hard decisions, right? A lot of emotional decisions, right? So one thing I've realized, right, as I dive deeper into like the psychology of all this is um, when it comes to journaling your trades, especially losing trades, no one wants to do it because it's a form of holding yourself accountable and admitting you're wrong, right? And these sort of things suck, right? So we tend to not want to bring shame or guilt upon ourselves, right? Especially when we make these really what we call stupid trading errors. So one thing, like we'll just run through real quick. Friday, right? I made a losing trade. I went short. I missed the open, and then I felt like I had to, well, my edge was present. I felt like my edge was present, so I took a trade, which is completely fine. And it did not go my way. And we're gonna dive in deeper to the trade, but basically, the old me would have not only held on to this trade for a worse loser, but not logged it, right? Because once you lose money, you want to just kind of walk away and be like, you know what, maybe tomorrow will be a better day. And that is the sort of behavior that will leave you consistently losing, right? You will consistently not own your mistakes, and you won't get any better. I did it for so long. And then I never forget, it was life changing for me. It's about 2 years ago when I started logging my trades. And the conviction that comes with it is just so powerful and important. And obviously, you get to go through and see how well you're actually doing, right? Like, how much money are you up? How much are you down, right? Like, these are really important things, right? So, I really, I love that you were able to identify a problem and then overcome it, right? Because that is what trading is all about, is overcoming an issue and just finding a better way to make more money, right? So really, dude, that's
Yep.
awesome.
I don't think I would have really been able to show that to myself. I don't think I would have been able to show that to myself if I hadn't journaled. So,
Right.
that is like one of the main points is and journaling. If I'm not trading in the market, I'm out of the market in my OneNote, looking through my trades,
right.
writing down notes. I suddenly, as if I have all of these trades in my mind all day, I'm thinking about them, and then suddenly something pops into my mind. I'll be like, aha, that was a limiting behavior in the affected me in the way that I traded today.
Yeah.
And I'll go to my journal and I'll write down, where did that come from? Is it valid? And if I need to eradicate that mentality or behavior, or if it's holding me back, those are the things that I'm thinking about when I'm not in the market, or when my buying power is out for the day,
Right.
or I'm not seeing the setups I want. I just go back to my OneNote and I just read it.
Right.
It's honestly become fun for me.
Right. So instead of going, hey, I had a bad day, we'll try again tomorrow, it's all right, I had and it doesn't even matter if it's a bad or good day, right? No matter what, whether good or bad, we're still going through this information, and that is just going to continue your growth in your beliefs and what you expect out of yourself, right? It's so awesome because I literally just swam in circles for years, and then like the whole concept of trading or of logging your trades has been so well. That's how I was able to learn how profitable this end of day strategy is, right? So like we run through this all the time. This happened on QQQ on Friday. Literally perfect example of our edge. Literally price comes down. Perfect. We'll just run through it real quick because it looks so nice, right? We get that rejection, and this was a supply zone. So this is one thing that kind of hurt me on Friday, is that we were entering supply on multiple different time frames, which kind of led me to, just try to look for shorts over and over. And it was a perfect example of how even when in supply, right? So we're just going to kind of, look at that. So I had a supply zone coming all the way back from, when was this? Let me do it on the daily. So basically, it was kind of, in this area. It was kind of like an overall general supply zone. But one thing I failed to realize is we held above this support at 313.90. Right, this was critical the day before, and holding above that, right, because we had this breakout here. Hold on, let me go back to the daily, and I always do this every single day. So every single day when I'm trying to identify market conditions. So as we see these break and retests, right, on a 1 minute or 5 minute, they're super powerful. What I love about candlestick analysis is it does not matter the time frame. These chart patterns work because they represent selective human behavior. And what that means is whether it's a 1 minute, 5 minute, or 3 month time frame candle or candlestick chart, when you see a breakout, right? So we had this resistance over here at 313.9, right? So when we look, we hit it, reject, right? And we finally broke through it here. You can see I got this little arrow. On Thursday, price comes down, retest, right? We get the break and retest, super bullish, right? This is when supply becomes demand, right? I absolutely love this strategy. And then we get a rejection off it. This is kind of telling us, hey, market conditions are bullish. And so going forward, when price came right down in the end of day, buyers were really stepping up, defending it. Perfect place to go long and to take the market long. Obviously, we all know it ripped for the whole day, right? Really, really good setup. And it's so important to learn to adapt to these conditions. So I'm just going to run through what happened to me on SPY on Friday, right? Took I think it was 2 losing trades, and but overall I was so proud of myself, right? Because it's happened to me, right, for a while, right, where Friday sometimes I tend to make rather, I don't know, I'm finding myself identifying my edge, but the trade doesn't go my way, right? And that happens. So here I am. I'm going short on Friday. I go short because we consistently are rejecting this 305.78 area, right? And then we rip up past it and reject again, right? So here I'm looking for a short, pretty much targeting a low of day or pre-market low. And one thing I did here, and I know it sounds really simple, but it was really powerful, is I had a hard stop in this trade, right? So if and when my option prices went to a specific level, it just gets me out immediately, right? And so I'm in this. This is short, and volume is very low, right? So I kind of got faked out here because volume really increased, right? So I figured this was sellers stepping into the market, and then volume dried up right here, but I'm holding my position because until I hit my stop loss, I'm staying in the trade. And then once we reject VWAP a couple times, right, and then we get this massive volume bar, right, where price rips right in the area of value, right? This is a super bullish indicator. This is our edge, right? So I constantly get people talking and are asking me, right, what do you look for to get in and out of trades? And this is exactly what we look for. We look for an area of value. In this situation, that means VWAP, right? So area of value, we get a massive volume, huge burst of buyers, right? The bar is almost completely green. That is our indicator saying buyers, hey, buyers are showing up. This is where we should go long, right? And there's tons of different ways to trade this. You could have wait for the breakout of here and then, the retest, go long. But overall, I got stopped out of my trade immediately, right? I took a 9% loss on this trade, which was amazing considering the fact of my size I was trading. You know what I mean? I was just very proud, right? Because anyone could have winning trades, right? It's how you deal with your losers that is going to bring you to consistency, right? I don't care if you take 9 trades and they are all bangers. If you cannot control your losers, you are never going to be consistent. Like there was a time in my trading, I literally my win ratio was 94%, but when I lost, they were so severe, I was not profitable, right? So this is something I really want to go forward with talking about, and I don't want anyone to ever feel ashamed about taking a losing trade, right? Like this happens. This is, dude, we have so many variables in this market constantly. We are going to take losing trades, but it is super important, right, to not leave yourself vulnerable and just get out of them and, reassess it. So, I really want to go forward talking about that. I know it's not the easiest subject to talk about, but I just know how beneficial it is once you can address and hold yourself accountable to your losing trades, right? So,
Yeah, when you got these zones pulled up, and like right there, you said you went short. You short the market there on looking for the reversal.
yeah.
And if you notice the break and retest, your same short entry also should have been your same long entry on the retest.
Yep.
That tells yourself you're in the right place.
Right.
As far as position,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's the way I look at it.
Absolutely. So we've been getting these break and retests, and I'm really confident that we're going to continue to see them. They've been super beneficial. I mean, this week we'll just run through real quick how beneficial these break and retests been, and right. So let me just see if I can spot some here. And let me see. Okay, so this day, right? So this Thursday was a really good day too. So we'll just kind of move backwards. So Thursday, on the S&P 500, let's bring out the one, or we'll do the 5 minute. Check this out. Okay, so one thing that I like to do too, and I've a lot of traders have asked me, right? Like pre-market highs and pre-market lows. Are they valuable, right? And anyone that took the course knows I got a whole part on this, but the thing is pre-market high and pre-market low are always supply and demand zones, right? And the reason I say that is because pre-market high, it's the highest price in pre-market because it was a sell-off, right? Even though it wasn't a massive sell-off here, there was a seller here. So every time we're identifying these supply and demand zones, it's super important just to I don't even look at them as zones that much anymore. I just look at them as areas where there's going to be a seller or a buyer, potentially. So SPY, right, on Thursday was a really cool day because there was a fake out, right? So I used to get caught in these all the time, right? And basically, it's when price breaks pre-market high, and then sellers come in, right? So you can see here we got pre-market high here, right at 404.25, and price then rips up past it, right? So this is our double top price pattern, right? So you got one top, two top, right? Sell off. And so one thing, volume was very low. So I was looking for price to come up into this area and then reject, right? And that's exactly what happened. We went short and then, took profits on the way, right, Darren, right? Like we were just talking about, right? So once I was in this trade and we broke this low a day and consolidated, this is another form of a break and retest. Absolutely love it. And this is how the whole profit taking aspect of it comes in handy, right? Because here you go, you got a potential demand zone here, right? We bounced off it 3 times, right? And then we rip up into supply, get a nice rejection, right? Break through VWAP, really bearish, and then make a new low, come up, retest, and then we get this massive selling, and then right here I'm up almost like 100, like 80 to 100%. So I take some off. I sell like 70% of my position, leave some runners, and then obviously price then starts to rip, and then comes up and retests this area. We get that same exact seller, and I was overall pretty bullish this day because of but I was only bullish at this 402 area, right? So I identified this in the pre-market plan too, where if price can come down to 402, I'd be looking to go long, and I'll show you guys where I got that from. So we got that from the previous day, right? So this goes back into the whole break and retest. So the previous day, maybe it'll look a little better on the hourly. So the previous day high, right, was right here. Actually, yeah, and that ended up being pretty close to end of day. But the previous day high was 401.56. Right, so I was overall pretty bullish on this area, and it was also pre-market low, right? So if and when we could come down to this area and get some buyers, perfect spot to go long. So Thursday, hold on, let me just go bring this back.
Yeah, that was a great demand zone.
Yeah,
We saw. I mean, honestly, that set up Friday really well.
Yeah,
but that the fact that all these demand zones all this week were being respected that well is a really, really bullish sign.
Yeah, I actually, right before this, I went through all the probabilities this week on all the demand trades we took, and so on the demand rejection overall was an 86.6% profitability, and it was 13 out of 15 trades that I took out of demand zones were all profitable, right? So that is definitely an indicator that the market is reversing, right? Here's another strong demand zone. And so basically what I've been doing is identifying these pre-market lows and then these break and retest, right? So you can see here, perfect, end of the day. And then what I'll do, and I know I talk to you guys about this all the time, is once I've identified my areas of value, I'll take off this pre-market data and it'll kind of give me, right? So you can see this right here. This was Wednesday, right? Thursday, we get this massive gap up, right? And then we trade it, get the double top, rejection, take her short, and then we come up, touch her again. And I know since we've broken past this 401.68, if we could come into this area, I'll be looking for buyers to defend it, right? So as price comes down, we come down, we literally hit it, we get two perfect basing candles out of it, right? This is my absolute favorite candle. If anyone ever struggles with, because I used to struggle with this a lot, was rushing entries, right? So anytime you're rushing entries, stuff like that, one thing that really helped me was wait for a nice basing candle, right? Whether it's 5 minute, it gives a little more conviction. Look at that on the 5 minute. You get two of them. For anyone that doesn't know, a basing candle is a candle where the wick is more than 50% of the body, right? So that's just indicating sellers came in, buyers soaked all that up with tons of strength. And it was a really, really good break and retest day. And that's why I love look, we got another break and retest right here. So as the market gets more bullish, we are going to continue to see this, right? We're going to see a specific supply zone, right? And, we got 398.6. Price rips above it, comes down, touches it, and then it changes the whole market environment, right? And then does it again, and then literally almost did it again right here, and then rips. And so, basically going forward on Monday, say we open at 312, price comes down to this 410 area, I'll be looking for buyers to defend it, right? And it's one of my all-time favorite strategies.
I think a good thing to mention, Josh, about this last week was that, we went over that demand zones were being respected in a high probability, but that also means that supply zones, at least in an uptrend like this, it means supply zones have a lower probability of being respected, and that's what creates an uptrend, is that imbalance of probabilities. And when I'm saying this, I definitely could have benefited from understanding that better on Friday, because for whatever reason, I was, at least on SPY, we were heading into two large supply zones created by some kind of head and shoulders back at the beginning of the month. I think on 3.3, 3.7.
Yeah.
And those were actually valid supply zones,
Absolutely.
But the thing is, we were in an uptrend where we had not been seeing weakness at all. We'd been seeing strength at just about every single demand zones.
Yeah.
And that also is coupled with the supply zones being weak. And for some reason, I don't know why, but I was putting a lot of emphasis on these supply zones. And And I could have prevented myself from a few losing trades by understanding that these were just weaker supply zones, and just be ready for buyers to just bully right through them.
Right, absolutely. No, so basically, 86.6% of the time, demand zones are being respected, at least based on my journal and based on the Team Metrics channel in the Discord. Supply, right, out of 17 supply rejections that I took, 12 of them were profitable. So that's 5 losers, right? That's bringing us to a 70.5% probability of success. And this is a
I would have
great.
thought it was even lower, but that does make sense.
Yeah, and that's just on the trades I took, right? So that's just that's basically on the trades I took. If you were to round up every single scenario, I'm sure you would be 100% correct. So basically here, we got a strong supply zone right here at 407.80, and this is an area that we ripped through on Friday. Right here, ripped right into it. I went short here on the Discord. And it literally ripped right through it and then did a whole break and retest. You know what I mean? I think someone's got someone's got to hit mute though, because we can hear you in the background. Okay, I'm not sure who it is. All right, so yeah, perfect example, Darren. You got this daily supply zone, right? So we talk about this all the time, right? So supply and demand, the higher the time frame, usually the more weight that they hold, right? But just like you said, now that we're starting to see strength, right? Tons of buyers coming in, you got to be able to adapt to these conditions, right? So right here on 3-6, price rips right into 407.5 and rejects. So that is our edge, right? That's how we identify it as supply zone. So a supply zone is an area where we're looking for sellers to come in, right? Based on prior performance, right? Prior price performance, we're looking for price to come in to this 407.5 area and reject, right? With sellers. And this did not happen, indicating that the market is getting more bullish, right? So there's a bunch of different ways, and that's all right, So I seen this setup, I went for it. Would I take this setup again? Absolutely. This setup has made me tons of money. I have tons of conviction in this, but given the information that the market is changing, right, and based on our journal, right, all the trades that we review, right, I would rather trade with buyers than against them, right? So yeah, that's exactly a super valid point, and that goes right back to the fact that logging your material, logging your trades, right, building that conviction is so important, right? Because if you do not do that, right, you will miss these opportunities, right? And you will, it's really, really good stuff. Super powerful.
Yeah. Josh, I don't know what a good time would be, but I also made some trades that I'm not super proud of on Friday, and if we can go through them, I think now that we're on the topic of Friday, we could might be a good chance.
Absolutely. Let's do it. Go right ahead.
So I made 3 trades on Friday. They were all losers, but my rule is to keep the losses under 30%, which I was able to do, but still, I don't think it was necessary for me to go through these trades. So basically, I made my first trade on SPY. In pre-market, I saw us bouncing off this supply zone on both SPY and QQQ, like I talked about, from this head and shoulders. And then we had a pre-market high of 405.45.
Yeah.
And then I think it was like 9:38. We got this big red volume coming in.
Okay, right here.
On the 1 minute I'm looking at.
Right here. Yep.
And that's where I went short.
Okay.
That's where I went short, and my stop was above the highs. And as you can see, immediately I got stopped out when we were at like 9:42.
Yep.
That's where I got stopped out. So I'm thinking, all right, it was a quick stop out, but buyers were stronger than I expected. So now I wanted to play with buyers. So I think for whatever reason, I switched over to QQQ.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm just pulling it up.
Yep.
I switched over to QQQ to go long.
Okay.
And I had pre-market high labeled on my chart, which I believe was 317.07.
Yo, yes, it was.
Yeah, it's from further
Yeah,
back.
hold
It's
on,
from a
yeah,
little bit further back.
yeah. Okay, yeah. So you were right. 317. Yep, right here. Perfect. Okay.
Yeah, and price came down right at 958, and I went long for the break and retest. I bought
Right
on
here.
a red candle, which I was super proud of.
Right.
Yeah,
that takes
I
conviction.
wanted to switch up. I wanted to switch up and play with buyers because I knew buyers were strong. So I bought right at 958.
Oh, right here.
And
Okay.
yep, and I saw buyers come in right after me, so I was feeling really good about it.
Yeah.
And then price came all the way down to
Oh, man.
316.79, and I stopped out on on the bottom of that wick right there.
Here. Okay.
Yep. And as you can imagine, the rest of the day I'm beating myself up because of what the market did. So I mean, I know that I analyzed it correctly, but my whole thing lately has been like creating tight stops and stopping out quick before 30%.
Right.
But this one, like, it just I just really pissed at myself.
Yeah. Well, and honestly, like, and so the way I would look at this, right, is your analysis right here was perfect, and in both scenarios, you identified your edge, right, and this goes back to exactly how I made a trade that I would definitely take again, and I guess it all comes down to your goals, right? So lately, I've been working on a lot of specific goals within myself, right? And I know me and you have too, right? So, and one thing we've been doing is trying to limit our losers immediately, right? So, this scenario, obviously hindsight's 2020, right? And we are still above VWAP. We're kind of bouncing off this right here. Hold on, let me move this. So obviously, right, it would have been the smarter idea to stay in this trade maybe below VWAP, but overall I wouldn't beat myself up over this. I would going forward go, okay, I go long in this scenario, right? Where exactly is price going to prove my analysis wrong? Right, so if I was trading this, right, and you went long right here on this break and retest, obviously, you got this demand zone here from pre-market, the one that it actually ended up respecting.
Yeah, respect that one instead, basically.
Yeah, and so basically, going forward, trust your analysis. That's what you did. You did stop out really soon. You know what I mean? But give yourself a little more space to breathe, right? And it's one of those scenarios where it's all about the market, how you perceive the market information. You know what I mean? So we dive deep into the market psychology all the time, right? And basically what that means is how we perceive the information the market's giving us, right? And so a lot of times when we enter a trade, right, and then the trade starts to not go our way, we tend to only look at the red candles, right? Versus looking at, hey, this is still very bullish, right? Until price rallies are basically until my predefined stop is hit, I am still in this trade, right? So that's one thing I really try to do is figure out exactly where price needs to go to invalidate my setup, right? So, and once again,
I think I just need to just be more objective, zoom out, and look at the bigger picture, and realize that. I mean, there's a bunch of things I could have looked at. Probably the fact that we rejected end of day that quickly.
Yep.
That's bullish.
Yep.
Obviously, this immediate demand zone.
Yep.
We were bouncing off VWAP is our edge, like you mentioned on the day before, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh no, that was this day. Yeah, that was on SPY though.
Yeah, SPY.
But
and that's the thing.
Or it could be just my entry was too early as well.
Yeah, and that's the thing, dude. And that's why, honestly, overall, like, and we talked about this earlier, you know what? You limited yourself to a loss, though. So you were like, listen, I have no tolerance. I'm stopping out of this trade fast, right? What you're doing is controlling how much you could lose, and that's a really good skill, right? So even on Friday, even though I took a losing trade Friday, I got out of this so fast. I was actually proud of this day. You know what I mean? Like, because the more that we can control ourselves and our errors, the better traders we're going to become. You know what I mean? So it's anyone could have great winning trades. It's the traders that can make these decisions, right? Being able to get out of bad trades really quick. Todd, I know you, right? You've talked about it before, right? Where you give pretty much not much room, right? Your stop loss is super fast. And how's that been working for you?
It's good, yeah. I mean, but getting knocked out that fast,
Yeah,
and if your thesis is still correct, your re-entry game's got to be on point.
exactly. So
But you can't just throw the trade away like
right,
at that zone right there. I'm looking at volume and I'm saying, okay, I want to play the rejection. I'm gonna take it short,
right.
and I take it short, and it don't, it only moves a few points. Okay, I may just get out of it. Then I'm looking and say, I want to play a rejection. If it's not going to reject, then that means it's going to break and retest.
Yeah.
So that's only almost all I'm looking at.
Yeah.
I know where the action's gonna happen. All I need is the action to show me what to do.
I love that you said that, right? So one thing, right? I know we're starting to get new people on the Discord, right? So I just want to break this down. I love how you just said, I know where the action's going to happen. I just got to figure out which direction, right? So the super important thing about supply and demand, right? So let's just break this down real quick. This day, right? And I'm just picking a random example here. So this day, how I would have traded this, right? So let's just do edit properties real quick. So what I'm going to do here is a quick example of how I identify my edge, right? And what makes me money. So, and what that is areas of value, right? So we have pre-market high here at 398.83, right? 399 we'll call it. Then we got pre-market low here at, what is that, 396, right? And you guys hear me say this all the time. You do not have to be extremely specific here, but you have to be within reason. So what we're trying to do here is identify buyers and sellers, right? We got a buyer here because price ripped down into this area violently, and then buyers stepped up. So, and then we have a seller here because price ripped up into here, and then sellers showed up, defended it. So how this day was traded, right? And I'm sure we could go back in the Discord to prove it, but how this was traded is as price rips into this area, we're looking to identify a seller. We get a Bayesian candle, right? This is where you go short, right? So an area value, right? This is where the action's gonna happen. So how we identify the direction is through chart pattern or a candle, right? So we get a double top, right? This is when we go short. And this could have easily ripped, right? So this is where we set our stop loss, right? We will set our stop loss right above here because once price rips above the pre-market high and holds, that invalidates our chart pattern. That invalidates our trade plan, right? And what that does is prove our analysis wrong. That's where we set our stop losses, right? That's where we go, hey, I'm wrong. It's time to get out. And vice versa, right? So price rips up into here, sellers come in, and then it comes down to pre-market low. This is our demand zone, right? Another area of value, and we get multiple rejections here, right? So we start to get these Bayesian candles showing up, right? This is our entries, right? We can see these, it's getting very wicky, right? This is when sellers come in, but buyers continuously keep showing up, right? And then price rips up, right? It can't make another higher high, right? And then sells off, right? So this is how, just so everyone, I just love running through it, right? Because I love this strategy. This is how we identify our areas of value, right? Another area of value is end of day, right? You can see, once again, I'm just, just running through. This right here is end of day. End of day is wherever price the previous day's close, right? So this right here is 396.42. Right? You could see pre-market, we break through it, and then it's continuously defended by sellers. Another area of value, right? This is where we look to capture moves. And then you can see price rips up into end of day, gets rejected, and so on and so forth, right? I just like that you said that, Todd. It's super beneficial, right, for everybody to understand, right? We're looking for specific areas that tend to have more volume and a higher probability of a opportunity to make money, right? So,
Right.
yeah.
What some people say about real estate, it's all about location, location, location. When in trading, it's all about location too.
Yeah.
You got to be where the action's at.
Yeah, because us as retail traders, we cannot move the market, right? We
Right.
cannot make any move. We have no control. All right, I don't care. I mean, unless Wall Street Bets comes in and buys, I don't know. But us as me individually, I have no idea where the market's going. The only thing I can do is identify, right? We don't predict, we react. All we can do is identify areas where we're looking for volume to show up, right? And we do that, right? And we do this by prior price performance, right? And what that means, right, is our double tops, our double bottoms, right? So a double top, right, or a double bottom, right? So how that works is you got every time price came into 395.50, we got buyers. So the way our edge works is we are looking to identify buyers at this price based on the last thing that happened here, right? Because a chart pattern is nothing but selective human behavior, right? And another thing we dive deep into on the course, and we talk about this all the time because it's so important to really understand the overall market auction here and what's really going on. And what it is there's just a billionaire or a millionaire or some bank institution that wants to buy 1 million shares of the SPY at this price. So as sellers bring it in, he buys, let's just say 10 million. And then the price comes down, he buys another 20 million, right? So that's the auction, right? And then when sellers or buyers are stronger, we tend to get these market imbalances, and that's what we're looking to capture day in and day out, right? So that's just a quick little recap of basically what our edge is, how we identify it, how we make money on it, right? And yeah, it's all about the location. This is good. I'm glad that we're talking about losing trades, and I'm glad that we're breaking through this stuff, right? Because it's super beneficial. You know, anyone could go, oh yeah, look, we went long here, made 300%, right? But who can sit here and talk about their losers? You know, those are the people that are going to make the most progress, right? Those are the people that are going to definitely hold themselves accountable, right? And move forward. I love it.
Agree.
Yeah, we've been seeing a lot of VWAP, rejections, right? A lot of good stuff, and overall, all what I'm looking to do going forward is just continuously identifying my edge and keeping these stop losses really tight. I'm definitely seeing a lot of buyers coming in.
Yeah, I mean the gaps ain't even all the way getting filled.
Yeah.
That's how strong it seems to be.
Yeah, I noticed that too. We take off that pre-market data. I mean, we're getting these gaps, and then price just continues to rally.
Yeah, there was one day where I was waiting for Tesla to touch end of day, and man, it just didn't happen. I think it was Thursday, Wednesday or Thursday.
I'm really glad you brought that up, Darren. So we called out a swing the other day on Tesla, and one thing I want to talk about here real quick is how important it is to identify these larger equities. So Tesla is traded with the most volume out of anything in pretty much in the world right now. And what that is basically, and you could see, right, these supply zones are turning to demand. Buyers are really stepping up. They're really showing up for Tesla, and that's really been influencing the S&P 500 and the overall market. So you guys will see, right, in the pre-market plans, right, I'll always be like, hey, in a bullish scenario, right, because we run through a bullish and bearish scenario every single day because of how important it is to not try to predict the market, right? So it's super important, right? And I'm always going, hey, in a bearish or bullish scenario, I'm looking for price to do this, right? So look at Tesla here. Tesla's got amazing strength. This thing is ripping consistently. And you can see here, when as Tesla sells off, the S&P 500 sells off. and vice versa. So every day when I'm going, hey, if Tesla can break this, or if market leading equities are strong, I'm looking for the S&P 500 to hold this level and target this level, right? Super, Tesla has just been parabolical, man. Yeah.
I'm still in those calls, and if I wasn't still in, I probably would have loaded up at this 185 level, because that was a perfect break and retest. And I think I might have even mentioned it in the Discord, but I was waiting for Tesla to get down to 185 till it saw strength.
Yeah.
And that is literally where the break and retest came to.
It was actually last Friday. So we were breaking down a Tesla long position, and that's exactly what you said. So not to put Darren on blast here, but I really want to talk about something real quick, because it was a phenomenal analysis and phenomenal trade. So back here, right, and this is exactly how price and volume analysis works. So about a month ago when we first started this Discord, right, we were talking about some long-term call options on Tesla, right, because Tesla was coming down into this weekly demand area, right? So I'm on the weekly time frame right now, and what I'm doing here is I identified a demand area at 100 all the way back on whatever this was, 2020. Right, so back on 2000, what is that? 8/10/2020, we got a massive buyer, right? That ripped Tesla all the way up here. So as Tesla sold off into this area, you can see even on the weekly time frame, you're getting these Bayesian candles. It's so crazy how this works. It doesn't matter if it's a back-to-back 2 Bayesian candles in a demand zone. That is our edge. That is what we do. Darren and we identified this. Darren went long on some calls, right? Not to put him on blast, but he literally went long. Yeah, he literally went long on some leap calls that were 6-7 months out, Darren, at 125.
5 months out, I got in at 126.
126. I have the text message, right, to prove it, right? He goes long here and has absolutely crushed it. He's still holding these, and he's absolutely killing it. And all what he did was identify a demand zone and identified his entry on a larger time frame and caught.
It was the volume. The volume.
Oh, thank you.
The high volume was one of the main things.
Yeah,
the sustained volume.
Look at this.
At that low level, it really made me get in. And what's crazy is there's still high volume.
Yes.
Yeah.
Look at that. And
yeah. Everybody wanted to hop in, and I believe that Tesla's at least going to retest the supply zone.
Oh, absolutely.
Back from September.
Yeah, we were talking about 230.
Yep.
Yeah, 240.
What's crazy is if you look at the daily on SPY, I'm seeing the exact same thing. Really high volume the last week.
Right. Yeah.
Look at the daily.
Ready? Let me just boom.
I don't know why your volume is.
There we go, like that.
Look at that.
Yeah. So this happens every year in March. And look at though. Let's view it as our edge. A double bottom.
What?
In demand. You know what I'm saying? Double bottom in demand right here. We got 380. We'll call it 380. We got all this congestion. So what we're doing is price and volume analysis, right? Literally means you're looking at price and volume. That's it. We don't use indicators.
I'll give it in a minute.
We don't use the relative strength index. We don't use MACD. All we do is look for price and volume.
Yo, CJ, I think you got to mute yourself.
Oh, is that CJ? All right.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, just hit the mute, my man. All right, perfect. So basically, all we do is look for price and volume, and you can see here. Price comes down into 380. Volume kicks up.
Yeah.
Bam, there's the buyer. And then it rips.
Massive volume.
Same exact thing on Tesla. Price comes into demand. Volume kicks up. And what I absolutely love about this is the daily time frame. You go ahead and do this on the 1 minute time frame, it works the exact same. Right? So this is how, right? And I'll go back to this, right? So look at this setup. We got an area of value, VWAP. We get tons of volume. Perfect indicator that a large buyer is stepping into the equation, and it absolutely rips for the rest of the day.
Better one.
All right.
Probably got a better one.
Listen. Okay, there we go. There we
I
go.
had to kick him. I had to
Yeah,
kick him
that's
out.
all right,
But
buddy. I appreciate. Yeah, that's all good.
yeah, let's keep going.
Yeah, so that's exactly what we do, right? That's exactly what we look for. You know what I mean? Really good move, Darren. I just want, and I love your analysis on that. I love, that you were willing to identify your edge and go for it, and that's exactly what happened
Yep.
there.
This could have been. I didn't make the play, but just going forward, if you're seeing volume, and it doesn't really need to be.
Right.
In this case, it was a demand zone on SPY.
Right.
But volume in that high volume, you could have gotten a good swing in the last even 3 days.
Absolutely.
But I tend to be caught up in the 0 day, which I don't know. Somehow that excites me the most. But there's definitely opportunity for swing trades, even like a week, 2 weeks out.
Absolutely.
I'm definitely going to start looking at that.
Absolutely. And how that works is this exactly what we're doing. You just go on a larger time frame, right? You go listen, on a daily time frame, a double bottom, you go 2 weeks out, boom, capitalize it. Even if you buy 1-2 contract, it's worth it. Obviously, whether it's futures, whether it's options, no matter what you're trading, shares, we always trade our edge, and it's super important to learn it and identify it. I'm so excited for everybody on this Discord. We've literally everyone. I talked to everyone on the Discord, and I absolutely love that everyone's able to identify their edge, right, and capitalize on it. And it's okay, right, to make bad trades, right? It's okay to make losing trades. Everyone makes losing trades. I don't care who you are, you're going to make a losing trade. The most important thing is learn to identify where you went wrong and log it, right? As long as you log it and hold yourself accountable, that is the only way you are going to change your overall beliefs and your overall expectations, right? And this is how you are going to become consistent, right? It's so important. I think everyone knows my story, but I traded for I think it was 3.5 years before I finally reached consistency, and I owe it all to logging my trades and obviously showing up every day and pushing myself to lengths. But if I did not learn to log my trades, I would never have had a prayer. You know what I mean? And obviously, supply and demand had a huge impact on that as well. And I never forget when I first learned supply and demand. I only limited it to zones, right? And then I learned it's the location, right? Just like Todd said, it doesn't matter when, or what matters is the location. It's so true. And I overall want everybody to get to learn, right? Obviously how to identify these zones, but to identify the correct mindset, which is all you are doing is looking for buyers and sellers, right? We, us as, humans, we tend to think the more we complicate it, the better we're going to do, right? I used to obsess over charts and analysis and derivatives and, RSIs and think that really led to profitable trading. But in reality, to become consistent, it's all about simplifying your process and repeating it and building the conviction. So basically, in a nutshell, just learn to identify your edge, right? And trade it, simplify it, right? I'm looking for a seller here. I'm looking for a buyer here. You know what I mean? That's literally it, So I'm really proud of everyone that everyone on this team's putting in the work. I love that everyone's showing up here. I posted in the Discord, right? It's a losing trades channel. I really encourage everybody to post in it so that we can start going through some, and maybe I'll label it something different. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll label it like the massive growth channel or something. You know what I mean? Because I really don't like the whole losing idea of it, because there's nothing about it that's losing. Like
the mental breakdown.
Yeah, the mental, the breakdown channel. You know what I mean? We'll label it that, because it's just so important that we identify it and walk through them. You know what I mean? And those stop losses, they're super important, right? I really need all of us. What's been working for me is I set a hard stop, like 10 to 12% away from my entry, or whatever I'm comfortable with. Obviously, it's super important to let your pattern play out, right? You don't want to exit too quick. But at the same time, if your entry wasn't prime time, maybe you don't want to leave yourself in a vulnerable situation, right? So really good progress, and I'm really pumped, man. I love everyone a part of this group, and look at this. I mean, we're starting. If we could really get above this 419 level, and once again, I don't predict anything. All what I'm looking at is if and when price can get above 419.56 on the S&P 500. I could see us really starting to go long, and maybe the market come back to us, and finally get out of this nasty bear market that we've been in for the last year and a half.
But if nothing else, we got some strong demand zones to get good break and retests off of. So
yeah, absolutely.
So that's what I'm going to be playing off of.
Absolutely. And if anyone ever has any questions about their zones, listen, send me a message, Darren a message, doesn't matter. Even, anyone on the team will be supportive. You know what I mean? My only goal is that everybody on this team can identify these areas of value and just wait for their chart patterns. The patience is very, very important. Wait for price to enter your zone. If it doesn't enter your zone, don't have to trade, right? For a long time I used to be like, oh, I gotta put on a trade. But even Friday I made 2 losing trades. I ended up walking away. That's fine, right? It's so important to understand that you can't show up every day and just hit home runs. I mean, one day we will get there. But I truly believe trading is a mentality game. It's all about just finding what works for you and just continuously repeating it, and learning to identify your edge. So
yeah, Josh, that's one thing that I learned from not trading on Monday. So last week on Friday, I guess we made a mistake, and I took the day off on Monday. And basically, what that showed me is I'm super. I tend to rush into trades, and I tend to just act. I just tend to act really quickly, and what that taught me is to just be patient. And if the market is not presenting my edge, or my zones are not even met, then that means that I don't even need to trade that day.
Right.
And I don't feel pressured to trade if my setup is not showing itself.
Right.
And I just think it's a really important thing to note that your setup might not appear in the market, and that means that you just don't have to trade it that day.
Yeah, absolutely. Once you start forcing a trade, you're losing, right? I went through this for the longest time, right? Once you are trying to force a trade, or and this all goes back to being able to identify what exactly the market's telling you. And we're not going to be able to do that every day, right? We're not going to be able to every day understand the conditions perfectly, right? But in the event you're not understanding the proper market conditions, right, and you don't feel confident with it, that's all right. Take a step back. The market's going to open tomorrow, right? You're going to have another opportunity. I used to get so hung up, right? Especially as an option trader when I had a small account, I used to feel like I had to make a perfect trade, because everyone that trades options knows you only get so much buying power, right? Whatever your account is, that's all you got. So I used to be like, oh, this trade needs to work. So then I would hold on to the losing trade, hoping it would come back, right? And that was detrimental. So it's very important, right, to, if you're in a losing trade, get out of it. We'll come back tomorrow. And I know that's hard to do. And that's why the hard stop I highly recommend it. Really helps you just cut those losses extremely fast, right? And I know everyone hears me say this, but if you have not read A Disciplined Trader, if you have not read Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas, you have to read it. It is life-changing. It really played a huge part in my development as a trader. I highly recommend it to everybody. The dude is a genius. He breaks down the psychology on how to understand why we make these trading errors, right? So, but yeah, I'm super pumped. I'm super happy with all the new members that are involved. And once again, if there's any questions, let me know. I'm here for you. And let's go forward this month into, hold ourselves accountable, right? If there's anything that I can recommend, right? It's let's hold ourselves accountable to the trades we take and figuring out why they didn't work for us, right? And also remembering, right, that sometimes they don't work. This is a law of averages a game, right? It's a probability game where out of 100 trades we are successful. We are not successful based off 1 or 2 or 5 trades, right? It's over a long period of time. That is how we become consistent. Once we look at trades, not on a trade by trade basis, but on a series of trades, that's when we will hold the correct perception and be able to make decisions not based on fear or anxiety or the emotions that are going to cause you to fail, right? Those emotions will lead you straight to failure. So, and Mark Douglas breaks that down a lot. And I always love to break it down too, because how important it is. But, just remember, this is a long-term probability game, right? Probabilistic mentality. My main goal is just to hold myself accountable.
Agreed.
Yeah. Really good stuff, man. So, guys, listen, that pretty much wraps it up. It's 12. I don't want to keep you guys all day. Thank you so much for everyone that joined. If you guys want to watch this, we are going to post it in the weekly recap channel. And everybody learn. Let's just focus on identifying our edge and absolutely crushing the market. All right. Everyone have a great weekend. I will see you Monday.